Alright guys, so Norma Dumont and Erin Blanchfield. Norma Dumont, 5 wins and 1 loss, a 26th best bantamweight fighter in the world. Her only loss coming in the featherweight division at 145 pounds against Megan Anderson around 1 year ago by knockout in the first round. A devastating knockout in 3 minutes and 31 seconds. She has a lot of wins in the bantamweight division, has never fought inside of the flyweight division. Erin Blanchfield is a flyweight fighter moving to the bantamweight division. Norma Dumont just had a fight where she was at 140 pounds. Before that, at 145 pounds. So in this fight, I fully expect that Norma Dumont is going to have the size advantage over Erin Blanchfield, considering she's taking this fight on short notice, just 8 days notice, and she has to move up 10 pounds in the weight classes to the bantamweight division. She's never been inside of the bantamweight division. Every single one of her fights is inside of the flyweight division. It's very understandable because she's 5'4" tall. It's very hard for a girl like her that is so small to move up to the bantamweight division, to move up to the featherweight division. So this is going to be a very interesting move up in divisions for Erin Blanchfield in the fight. She is only 21, almost 22 years old. Actually has more fights than Norma Dumont, who's actually the older fighter at 30 and a half years old. 5 wins, 1 loss, and Erin Blanchfield 6 wins and 1 loss. Norma Dumont is a taller fighter at 5'7" tall, has a reach of 67 inches. Erin Blanchfield, the smaller fighter, way smaller at 5'4" tall, has a very small reach advantage at 68 inches. She is a nasty head kick. I mean, if you guys saw that fight inside Invicta FC, I encourage you to look it up. Against Victoria Leonardo, second round head kick KO, absolutely insane. This is win over Brogan Walker Sanchez, a first round Americana submission win over Gabriel Golfin. Her only loss as a professional fighter in a really close fight with Tracy Cortez. If you watched that fight, it was literally just takedown, reverse, get back on the feet, clinch, reverse, takedown over and over. It was pretty much that type of fight where they kind of got in the clinch, got a takedown, the fight got reversed, the fight got back up, the fight got back in the clinch. It was kind of that fight the whole entire time. But Tracy Cortez, being a little bit more of a bigger fighter in the fight, was able to kind of out-muscle Erin Blanchfield in the fight and kind of reverse the position on top of Erin Blanchfield most of the time in the fight. Kind of be the dominant performer in that fight, being the bigger fighter in the fight against Erin Blanchfield. And Norma Dumont is going to be the bigger fighter against Erin Blanchfield. So in this fight, who knows? Even though Erin Blanchfield is going to go out there and try to get the submission, try to get a TKO, get the fight to the ground, and try to land a ground and pound control time and get a lot of submissions over and over again. Even though that is her main game plan in most of her fights, she's a much smaller fighter in this fight against Norma Dumont. So it's going to be much harder to actually implement that game plan against a bigger fighter in Norma Dumont, who has a really good striking and a really good takedown defense. I think if this fight was in the flyweight division, I think Erin Blanchfield has a much bigger chance of actually winning the fight. But considering this fight is in the bantamweight division, Norma Dumont being a featherweight fighter moving down to the bantamweight division, Erin Blanchfield being a flyweight fighter moving up to the bantamweight division, there's just so much of a big size advantage for Norma Dumont in the fight. She's gonna go out there, kind of keep the fight on the feet, defend the takedowns from Erin Blanchfield. And if you saw that fight in her last fight against Ashley Evans Smith, I mean, it was an absolute dominant performance. She landed 94 significant strikes to 42 significant strikes. Getting knocked out in the fight, landed 2 takedowns of her own in the fight, defended every single one of the takedowns from Ashley Evans Smith in the fight. So I think Norma Dumont, she just looked really good in the last fight with Ashley Evans Smith. She's only 30 and a half years old, the much taller fighter, a little bit less of a reach, but I think this is too big of a step up for Erin Blanchfield. She is only 21, almost 22 years old. I just think it's too big of a step up above her weight class. So I think Norma Dumont is going to go out there, keep the fight on the feet, defend the takedowns, and ultimately dominate the fight on the feet in the striking game, landing a lot of good strikes. And I think the fight is going to be pretty much the same exact thing as the fight with Ashley and Smith, with Norma Dumont keeping the fight on the feet, landing way more strikes than Erin Blanchfield, and win the fight by 30-27 and possibly a 30-26 unanimous decision. If you guys were wondering what the betting odds were for the fight, let's see if I can find it. -250 and then +220. So, Norma Dumont, being the bigger fighter, being the stronger fighter, being a fighter who's 30 and a half years old, Erin Blanchfield, in a very short notice fight, that's pretty much the reason that they have it as Norma Dumont, as the favorite in the fight. She's just so much of a bigger fighter, has really good takedown defense, and much better striking than Erin Blanchfield. So, I 100% have Norma Dumont winning the fight by unanimous decision.